Hello, welcome to part 4 of your Recovery Kickstart course to beating chronic fatigue. This video is about the stresses and stressors in your life and how they make your chronic fatigue worse. Sorting this out will go a long way to getting your recovery on track. You see, there are stresses and there are stressors. Ultimately, they have the same impact on you, but it's easier to think about these two things as being different. So what is stress? For our purposes, think of stress as you being subjected to the strain or pressure of daily life, things that happen to you from the outside. These are the demands of daily life, whether it's work or school, rushing from here to there, interacting with friends or family, or dealing with difficult situations. If these demands are beyond your tolerance limits or coping skills, your body will suffer. This can result in increases in adrenaline, cortisol, and other hormones, and if it goes on for long enough or for too high a level, then it can result in damage and the fatigue state that you're in. And the stress level doesn't need to be very high. It just needs to be a little higher than what you can handle. And as you get worse, your threshold level gets lower and it's easier to keep getting worse. A downhill spiral. Stressors, on the other hand, are all the little attacks that occur on you as you go about living day to day. These are more internal. Stressor attacks can include what diseases and illnesses you might have had in the past, the food choices you make, the air you breathe where you live, what you drink, how you think, your mindset, your mental health, and your ability to manage this, what chemicals you're exposed to, if you smoke or drink alcohol, and how much of these and others you are exposed to. So is the difference important? Well, the short answer is yes. So remember in the previous video, we spoke about how recovery from chronic fatigue is like building up your tug of war team. Well, there are two sides to the equation, and this gives you two options. Firstly, you can build up your team like we spoke about. This is building your capacity to handle stresses. Work on your health and the critical components that we'll cover starting from the next video. Or you can also get free progress by making the giant smaller at the same time. Making the giant smaller is kind of like reducing the stressors in your life and taking the power away from the giant. I say free progress because it brings the goal line of recovery closer to you without you needing to do much and without requiring much effort from your already challenged body. So where are the stresses and stressors in your life? So first place to find them could be your daily life stress, such as work, social life, or if you volunteer or you're a parent, can apply stress to you. There are physical stresses such as traumas or injuries or surgeries or infections you might have had. There are emotional stressors, like a bad relationship or depression or hardship or maybe a death in the family that's giving you a hard time. There are financial stresses. Do you have career progression issues or bills to pay? Are there debts or loans or mortgages? There are lifestyle stresses, rushing about, smoking, lack of exercise, not enough sunshine. And there are dietary stresses, such as excess caffeine or drinking lots of energy drinks to try and keep your energy up, or skipping meals, or eating lots of junk food. And as you can see, each of these add to making you progressively more and more tired. And, if you look at that, are there any of these in your life? Can you identify any of them? Can you start to think about what you can do to reduce, modify, or eliminate them? And so that really brings us to the end and to talk about what your action steps are from this video. So I encourage you to go back to the slides of the fatigued lady and identify what stresses and stressors are in your life. And use the examples to help spur your thinking. Pause this video and write a list of all the possible stresses and stressors in your life. You'll also find a list of these below this video. But here's a word of caution. Don't judge or think too much about your list. Just write them down. If it feels like it could be a problem in your life, write it down. Don't confuse brainstorming with editing. Being aware of the issues you have to face is half the battle, and you can't beat an opponent who you can't see. So go to town listing any problem areas you have in your life. Once you have your list, take some time to work out how you can reduce the impact of that stress or stressor in your life, and ultimately on your health. In the corporate world, risk management is an area of focus for many companies, and they work on a priority list to deal with these risks. Firstly, eliminate. Secondly, reduce. Thirdly, modify. We can learn from this. First, try to eliminate a stress or a stressor. That's really the best outcome, just to get rid of it. But not all stresses can be easily eliminated. In that case, think about how its impact can be reduced first or otherwise modified. It might take some trial and error and a few good goes, but trust me, it is worth it. An example from my life was that I had a few friends I really enjoyed hanging out with, but the ways in which I hung out with them was kind of more to do with late weekend nights over dinner than drinks at a bar, and it was too much of a drain on me. Now, I didn't want to eliminate them as friends, so I spoke to them about changing how we hung out, and they agreed to hang out with me, on a Sunday afternoon in a local park without the stress of late nights. And so this greatly reduced the stress on my body and also made me happier because I got to see some good friends in a healthful way. Eventually, as I got better, we could do more things, and we ultimately started a basketball team and played in a competition, which is a nice healthy progression of a way of seeing my friends. And so I encourage you to understand that it's important you do this exercise before moving on to focusing on improvements in your health, because this exercise helps you to make that giant smaller. It makes the fight fairer, and it makes your goal of beating chronic fatigue easier to reach far more quickly. Now, I'd like to end this video with a really good thought for you to take away. You've no doubt heard of the example about whether you think a glass you're holding is half full or half empty, and this is supposed to be a metaphor about how you see your life. Half full being vibrant and energizing, or half empty is hard or trying. Well, here's the point for you to take away. It's important to remember that it's not about the glass at all. The real key is the fact that you're holding the glass in the first place. Whether it's half full or half empty is irrelevant. It's got stuff in it, and holding this stuff is hard work. So spend some time getting rid of the stuff, the stresses and stressors, and making the glass lighter, and which makes ultimately holding it much easier. So thanks for listening, and I hope you got something out of it. So go now, check out the resources below this video, work on the exercises, and I'll speak to you again in a few days' time. Ciao for now.